the life of my character, the country robot, in exactly 30 seconds. I'm guessing. I don't fucking know. The country robot was built from 2,000 other droids so that they could optimize the normal office place because a random Google Chrome inspired droid decided that it would be funny if he would send out all the business partners droids into things that would totally make him bankrupt, except everything he did ended up making things go well anyway. But that's a whole other story. Anyway, in this process we follow the country robot, or 2WF-3. 2WF-3 was an odd one. His arms were kind of longer than all the other droids, which was just kind of a defect. So he was promptly looked over almost all the time, and was even really mocked by his own designer for quote-unquote going past without proper inspection. But regardless, he was a robot. He didn't have feelings. He didn't really even have that much self-awareness besides print papers, stamp papers, and do other things with paper. And then give it to the next. That's kind of all he was designed for. And he did that for about 5 years until people started to realize that making everything like that automated would just make the economy suck for humans, and with the fear of robots taking more people's jobs, classic news trope, I know, they promptly got scrapped. Some were sent off to other things similarly, but in warehouses, some were taken out, and since our little droid right here technically had a factory defect, he was one of the ones that got scrapped. Unfortunately, for his designers, but very fortunate for him, all of the information that he's collected from all the humans and everything not only gave him a form of intelligence, but when he was thrown out, all of the electromagnetic garbage thrown out from thousands of years of old technology that had not been used in the past 30 years subsequently connected to his internal head's hotspot, connecting him to all the creativity of people from long ago. Documentaries about Leonardo da Vinci, Leonardo DiCaprio, Bob Ross, all of those. Not only the creativity, but the pure emotion. Not only was he connected to just art, he was connected to cooking shows, new shows, old shows, shows from the 80s, shows from the 20s, shows from the present day. He could see it all. And in the process, his CPU overloaded itself, but somehow he didn't fry his own circuits. It surprised him too, and then he started to realize he was feeling genuine surprise. That isn't supposed to happen. And then subsequently after this, he started to have a mental breakdown, and then in the process of having that mental breakdown, he realized he shouldn't be having a mental breakdown. He's an android. No emotions. Right? He wandered around asking himself many questions, and also subsequently realizing that this was the first time he asked himself questions and didn't ask questions to others so that he could narrow down what he was supposed to do for an assignment. And then he started to realize he had nothing to do. This was the odd feeling he had been feeling. Now that he could feel. And then it came to him. All of those programs, all of the data of all of that creativity purely booted up into his system, causing him to not only gain a form of higher intelligence than most droids, but also gain his own form of emotions. They're still artificial, yes, but somehow gave him his own sense of an inner monologue, inner thoughts, deeper emotions, just things that were further down than surface level android behavior. And so he kept, just walking. He had nothing else to do, so he just kept going, and going, and going, kept walking. The battery supply was basically endless because most things were wireless nowadays, so as long as he was even close to a power line, he didn't really have to worry about anything. And even in the country area that he was in, there were power lines. He kept going until he could hear the sound of some of the wires in his legs scraping up against the metal of his legs, and eventually he stopped, realizing that he was actually in a place with tall brown things covered in green stuff. He had never seen these before. He searched his database and found out these were things called trees. After studying everything possible around him, including the trees, forest, plants, berries, animals, especially animals for some reason, he found a big field. Things filled with wheat, barley, somehow tropical plants and fruits. To a human, this would be like the greatest thing to find out in the woods, but he wasn't exactly in the woods anymore. It seemed like he was in a country town. He didn't know what that was, but he just kind of came up with it, even though the words were already in his database, but that inner monologue still got him confused. Regardless, he approached and kept going through the houses. A lot of them were either vacated or empty, probably due to the mass amount of people trying to get big bucks in the city. Except there were some people still there. They were either older people want to get away from all the noise, younger people who just wanted to make honest living with hard work instead of just sitting in front of a computer all day. And then there was a lady, not very old at all, like 46 at max. The lady looked at the robot, really unfazed, raising her eyebrow in a sarcastic way, like she couldn't deal with anybody's bullshit anymore. Her name was Annie. Annie had moved into this quieter town for not only the quiet, but also the fact that, like her expression said, she really did not like dealing with people with bullshit. But for once, she found interest in something besides the big field behind her house. And following her eyebrow raise and staring and literally having to crane her neck all the way up because of these droids' very high stature due to 10 or 9 feet. She decided, she was thinking, wondering how much it would probably be if she could sell these things parts and how she would even really get the thing to let her take it apart. And then the droid the droid that we all know and love collapsed. And, well, just kind of stayed limpless. Crumpled in the dirt. Mostly depowered, and, well, for some reason, out of some odd curiosity and main character vibes Annie got from this odd droid with long arms, dragged this 50 ton thing in, surprisingly, into her home and spent almost half her paycheck on a small generator that basically was seen as modernized antiques in this modern age. Plugged it into her breaker system, plugged it into a port that she wasn't even sure if the plug was going to fit into this newer port, and waited. Just waited. And many hours later, the droid woke back up. And the droid stared down this robot, this human, just staring. Nothing else. No other movements besides the slouching sitting position it was in, like a toddler waiting for something to happen. It only said one word. Hi? Annie had no idea what to really say back. She didn't even say hi back. She just stared back like an even more confused toddler. She didn't really know what to really do. She never really thought this was gonna work. She just thought at the most was that she was gonna get her hopes up, get disappointed, and then try to either take the generator she's wasted money on or try and sell it to an old sucker saying that it had a bunch of money stored in it. Not really expecting for this thing to turn on and start talking to her like it's an actual living person. It suddenly hit her. Oh god, this thing actually sounds emotion-filled? She scrambles with that made-up word in her head, emotion-filled, for a couple times over a couple of minutes. And then somehow realizing that she has been quiet for a very long time, scrambles out, hi, in almost the exact same confused tone, even though she was not really confused at all. Well, not in the sense that the android was. She was confused on how the hell this thing sounded like just another person, while the android was just confused on where the fuck it was. And that is part 1 of the Country Robot. I would like to thank anybody who has watched this video. I'm genuinely surprised if anybody wants to really listen to me talk. And sorry if I stutter or have any pauses. I have nervous reactions when it comes to filming my voice online because I don't really like my voice. So make sure to like and subscribe and turn on bell notifications so that you can get every single video on the Country Robot, my Murder Squid series, which you can watch part 2 on the intro, in my channel, and also a couple of my other videos of just Undertale fan art and so on and so forth. Thank you very much, and have a good day.